Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Skillet coming to you from X4 Foundations, the Interworlds Mod. And before you, yes, that is a Providence class. Not just any, that is our Providence class. And before we get into the video today, if you do like the Interworlds mod and the series that we're doing, or the Accomplished Scientist series, I do have an update at the end of this video in regards to that video, or series, or the Let's Talk series. Think about throwing up a subscribe. We have some crazy, wild things that happen. I was very curious about what was going on there with these asteroids. We have some crazy wild videos sometimes. Sometimes they make you think. Sometimes they blow your mind. And then, speaking of that, if you like a video, toss up a like. That helps other people come to the channel, to have their minds blown, to go, why do I want a sector? Or can I have a drone carrier without having an H? If you saw the video, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Is it practical? No. But could you do it? Yes. Do you want to do it? Probably not. Probably not. But it is actually a cool thing to do, and it worked pretty well for me. And then, if you have a question, if you have a concern or a comment, go down to that comment section and leave it. If you are in the beta of the 7.5 for X4 Foundations, leave a comment. I want to know your thoughts in that beta, because that is something that I'm very interested in. I am very interested in that. I know that some people are having some issues and they don't like it, but it is the first iteration of that beta. But if you have any comment on it, if you have any comment on the videos, if I missed something or anything, leave a comment. If you want to say hi, hello, Skillet. That's all you have to do. But that is a cool shot. Oh, speaking of something else. Oh.
Munificent class.
That's right. Oh.
Awaiting orders.
We also have a Munificent class cruiser. Now, let's everybody sit down and let's have a little bit of a story and, you know, get a lead up to what is about to happen in this universe, in this series. Because in the last video, I mentioned a betrayal. Well, I've been hard at work laying down the groundwork for said betrayal. And story mode, here we go.
Hello.
We were approached by Kimino and the ICG because the CSA are encroaching in ICG space. They are threatening the independence of the ICG, the Kimino, the Kiminos, clone breeders. We all know who they are. And the Hutts. Now, I will say the Hutts haven't lent us any infrastructure to help push back the CSA. There's still a bounty on our head from the Hutts, so they haven't approached us. But the Kimino and the ICG came to us upon losing NImban and Kubindi. And they said, look, we need help. Will you help us guarantee our independence? Can we have a coalition of independent systems? And I said, I will happily be a part of a coalition, because a confederation is too close to something that's already happened. So, upon our acceptance of the coalition, we got the Munificent in a Providence class, and we have named Clanker's Revenge. We also, from the Kimino government, planet, what do you want to call it? We got Malevolence Silence. I'm not a fan of the Clone Wars series. I tried to get into it, but I failed to. It didn't click for me. But I know that that was a big thing. So we're doing some callbacks to the, episode 2, 3, and the Clone Wars series. Now, the groundwork that we have laid, we have, under a false pretense, started to create a defensive structure in Jabiim. It is situated between 2 gates. Our end goal on this righteous crusade is to liberate Kubindi, liberate NImban, liberate Bunta, and have Jabiim as the frontier sector. And why, you might ask? Because it is a bottleneck for the CSA. They will have to funnel into this sector where we can consolidate our forces in Jabiim to face the CSA head on. Now, the ICG has asked us to help fund their navy. We do have a current mission to deliver 5 diamond frigates. We are nearly complete in that task. We have one more. Oh, actually, no. We will be complete in that task. We are going to group them all together. So they will go as a fleet when we hand over said fleet. So that is the goal moving forward. Now, what we have also done, because major powers in the galaxy have started to turn their backs away from us. The Galactic Empire, the New Republic, have both turned their backs and don't want anything to do with us. We are at -11 for the Galactic Empire, -11 for Rebel Alliance, and actually no, sorry, it's the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire. I'm gonna assume, because we are friends with the Mandalorian Death Watch. So, with that being said, and having to do more of an expenditure for military spending, because those 5 diamond cruisers were not cheap, we have dropped a bit. We also have started building stations in Mandalorian space. We have a, can't even remember, Rhydonium core factory here. Which, why isn't this being built? It's almost being built. And then we also have a, this should be refined metals. Yes, refined metals factory here. There are a few stations in this sector, Ordo, that needed refined metals, so we're trying to fill that gap in their economy. And then Rhydonium cores we can sell to the wharf and the shipyard, and we can probably get down here to the equipment dock as well. And for whatever other station that needs it, we also have a solar power plant down here in Concord Dawn, which has been here for a while. It's how we got Citizen with the Mandalorian Death Watch, and is allowing us to gain in rep and gain that money, because money is something that we do need. Currently, that's the wrong button, Skillet. Currently, we are roughly making about 8 mil, almost 9 mil.
Awaiting orders.
I guess it's just the sum of the transactions here within, it should have been, okay, so roughly about 40 minutes. So in 40 minutes, we can make roughly around about 9 million. With these 2 new factories, hopefully we can push that past 10, which would be great. We haven't done more traders, which is something that we might do as well. Now, other than the Maleficent, the Providence, the Kimino gave us a few ships as well. They gave us that's not what I wanted, but that's actually a cool shot. A Venator, along with an Arquetans light cruiser. Now, if you all remember from the battle to liberate, there's the Arquetans back there, to liberate the HQ, or Research Center, most of that fleet was ARC 170s, Nimbus Vs, or V-Wings, some V-19s, which have actually left this fleet. And then we did have a grouping of Y-Wings for bombers in a different sector. That has all been consolidated into this fleet here. Now, this is the Clone War era Venator, so it has a little more storage for ships. It's a little weaker in the hull, and I believe this is actually a little faster.
Sir.
And for this Providence, because it's also Clanker's Revenge, we have a whole mess of droids. Except for the Porax fighters. Now, the Porax fighters are better than vultures and the hyenas and the tri-fighters. They have more sustainability. They can fight longer, take more hits. So they're a small portion of this carrier group, but they should hopefully do some good work. And I'm very on edge about the vultures. So far, our fleets are going through training. And you might be saying, training against what, Skillet? An unknown threat. That's right. Look at that. And there he goes. See that top dorsal gun? Ooh. There are no blind spots for the K. Now, the fleets, and more so the Providence fleet, has went up against M's and N's. So the Providence fleet has a little more battle experience than the Venator. That's not to say that the crews within the ARC 170s and the V-Wings don't have the experience because they fought for the HQ. The Venator crew itself is pretty new to battle, along with the Arquetans as well. The Acclimators are the only ones with battle experience. Now, out of the Providence fleet, it is the 2 Corvettes and the Ordnance Cruiser that have battle experience. Now, I also want to talk about another, I say another ship. It is another ship that I want to get for the Providence fleet. And that's because I do want to have this fleet a little more rounded to be able to deal not only with large threats, but to also deal with stations. And that ship, and I'm going to give you guys kind of a glimpse of the min-maxing that you can really do in the Interworlds mod. So, let's actually get to that ship. Now, that ship is another XL class ship. That is going to be the Requisite. Now, there are 3 different factions that we can purchase the requisite from. Each faction has differences in the equipment that can be placed on it. So, for the first one is the Geonosis. So that's the Geonosian equipment set here. The second is going to be the ICG, or Independent Commerce Guild. I clicked on the wrong
Awaiting
one.
orders.
And this is their loadout, their specific equipment that can be utilized for the ship. And the last one is going to be the Mon Calamari, because the creators of the requisite, the Providence, it came from Mon Calamari, if you are lore-wise in Star Wars. And they went to a planet, I believe it was called Drax, something like that, or maybe that was their shipyard name, I can't remember. But they hail from the same planet. And this is the Mon Calamari variant as well. And as you can see, there are small little differences between the ships. So for the ICG, we get better shielding. For the Mon Calamari, we get slightly better turrets. They have a different set of turrets that you could actually get for the ship. So in this universe, you can min-max your ship in a lot of different ways to have better shields, to have better weapons.
Sir.
Engines so far are pretty normal, I guess, run of the mill. There's not a huge. I haven't found a ship that I can swap out engines on thus far. But for cruisers, capital ships, you can min-max them to just gain the edge over your opponent, which is part of the reason why I want the requisite. But the main reason I want the requisite is this here, the Siege Turbo Laser. Other than being gargantuan for a turret and having a really cool name, it puts down damage. And for the most part, most factions don't have their stations fully equipped, that I have noticed. Maybe it's a little different in the Interworlds mod opposed to the normal game of X4 Foundations. But it puts serious damage. And the requisite in the Ordnance class cruiser, I want as my bombard ships. So before we start the engagement, before we start the betrayal, what I want to do is I want to get 2 requisites, and I want to get another Magnificent class cruiser for the Clanker's Revenge. This will be our siege fleet. This will be the fleet that brings down stations. Meanwhile, to counter any other capital ship, the Venator or Malevolence's Silence will be that fleet. Now, do I think that the Clanker's Revenge fleet can take down ships? I do believe it could, especially with the requisites and the Magnificents in the Ordnance. Those are powerful ships in their own right. So, could we turn that around? It's a good possibility. Venators, I have noticed, have been a pretty strong ship on their own. And with the 2 Acclimators and the Arquentins, it should be a pretty strong fleet. But in the next coming videos, we are going to start that process. We are going to take out trade. We are going to take out logistics in Jabiim, Bunta, NImban, and Kubindi. We are going to be their plague. We are going to weaken them in these sectors. We are going to face them in battle. We're going to do missions for the ICG to reconquer these sectors. I hope you join me for that, because it should be a fun-filled battle experience. And if the battles do take my guiding hand, that does mean more battles with me involved, either in a fighter, which probably is how I'll start it anyway, or in a capital ship like the Requisite or a Munificent, or standing on the deck of the Providence, or Venator for that matter. But those are going to be the next episodes, and hopefully we can get to this goal of Jabiim. Here it is, Jabiim before the 7.5 patch for X4 Foundations, because at that point in time, the creators of the Interworlds mod will do patching of their own, and once a patch happens, I don't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe the save will be playable at that point, which means we'll have to start a different playthrough. And I am 100% hands down on board with that. There's a lot to this mod that I've had to learn. It's been exciting, and I'd love to continue it with you guys after, said goal of Jabiim and a patch that happens. If it's going to be a while for the patch to happen for the Interworlds, I will continue down this, and we will strike fear into the hearts of other factions, like the Galactic Empire, turning their backs on me. Really? You think you can?
Sir.
But that is going to be it for the Interworlds mod. Now, the update that I do have for the Accomplished Scientist series. I am in the midst of shooting scenes, or recording scenes for that, because we are incorporating the Terrans and Vigors and Avarice, I guess, into the game. However, how I want to introduce them is being a little more difficult than I was anticipating. And without having to ruin how I want to introduce them by going out, finding them, and creating shots, I'm trying to wait for the right moment. Now, I'm also trying to come up with ways that I could do it without taking so long, and I should have that video out coming this week. But thank you for being patient for that series if you are a fan of that series, and we are going to add them, and we're going to continue down those stories, specifically the Avarice stories and the Terran stories, which one we've never even started or even completed. We're going to do that. But that's going to be it for me for today. I do hope you guys have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you watch this. And I hope you have a wonderful day.